Black Hollow was the kind of town that time forgot. Nestled between dense woods and rusted train tracks, its streets were lined with crumbling brick buildings and flickering gas lamps that never quite chased away the dark. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones, especially when the wind carried the distant whistle of the 7:15 train, the one that had taken Eli Hargrove. At the end of Willow Street stood the house. It had been empty for years, its paint peeling like dead skin, its windows staring out like hollow eyes. The locals called it the Weeping House, though none could remember exactly why. Some said it was because of the way the walls seemed to drip with condensation, even in the dead of winter. Others swore they heard crying from inside on moonless nights. But the truth was worse. The Hargroves had lived there once. A quiet family, the kind that kept their curtains drawn and their voices low. Their youngest, Eli, was a small boy with wide, curious eyes and a habit of wandering too close to the tracks. Every morning he would stand at the crossing, waiting for the school train to carry him into town. Until the day it didn't. The fog had been thick that morning, swallowing the world in damp, suffocating gray. Eli stood at the tracks, as always, his lunchbox clutched in his tiny hands. The train's whistle cut through the mist, a distant scream growing louder. Then, something went wrong. Witnesses, though few would speak of it afterward, said the boy didn't move. He just stood there, staring straight ahead as the train bore down on him. The conductor yanked the emergency brake, metal screeching, but momentum carried the massive engine forward. The impact was brutal. They never found all of him. His family buried what remained in a closed casket, and within a week, they were gone. The house stood empty, its doors locked, its secrets festering in the silence. But Eli never left. The Callaways didn't believe in ghosts. Once they moved into the house on Willow Street, they laughed at the warnings. "Old superstitions," Mr. Calloway said, patting his daughter Lucy's head. "Nothing but stories." The first night, they heard the knocking. 3 slow, deliberate raps on the front door. Just after midnight. Mrs. Calloway opened it to an empty porch, the street lamps casting long, skeletal shadows. But on the welcome mat were small, muddy footprints, child-sized. Lucy woke screaming that night, insisting a boy had been standing at the foot of her bed.
"He was smiling,"
she whispered, trembling.
"but his face was
wrong." The house grew colder. Breath fogged in the air, even with the heat on. The walls hummed at night, a low, droning sound that vibrated in their teeth. And then, the whispers.
"I missed the train."
The voice was thin, broken, like static from a long-dead radio. It came from the attic, from the basement, from the space beneath Lucy's bed. Mr. Calloway tore open the attic door, flashlight shaking in his grip. There in the corner sat a small figure. Eli. His clothes were tattered, his skin waxy and gray. One side of his face was caved in, the bone shattered. His eye a milky, lifeless orb. The other side was still a child's, soft, round, horribly innocent.
"Why did you take my house?"
he rasped. Then he lunged. The Callaways didn't survive the night. When the police broke down the door the next morning, they found the house empty. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just the overwhelming stench of wet earth and rusted metal. And on the wall, written in something dark and flaking, "I'm home now." That night, the 7:15 train whistled as it passed through Black Hollow. If you listened closely, you could hear a second scream beneath the engine's roar, a child's voice wailing in endless, hungry fury. And in the house on Willow Street, the windows wept.